to the April 13, 2023 town board meeting, and if you would, please rise. Pledge allegiance.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Many of you know who've been here before, we have public access in the beginning, and we have public access at the end. So at this point, do we have any visitors at this point who would like to speak? Can I have you come forward, please? Or grab the mic. Chip, you want to come up now, or whatever is appropriate? Gotta have your name and address, young lady.
Cheryl Smith, 399 Howard Grove Road, Trinity Yard, 1218. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to voice concerns on behalf of myself, my family, my friends, neighbors regarding a proposed Dollar General in our neighborhood. I have lived most of my life in the town of Brunswick. My husband Scott and I bought my grandparents' house on Carroll's Grove Road in 1987. We raised our family and now a grandchild, a fifth generation I may add, in a wonderful neighborhood community. Our neighbors have looked out for one another for decades, as you all probably know. We acknowledge the corner of Carroll's Grove Road and New York State Route 7 as zoned light commercial. And at some point in time, a light commercial business will likely inhabit the property. However, Dollar General is not a fit for our rural neighborhood community with regard to the obvious excess vehicular traffic, light pollution, unchecked trash pollution, and general disregard for our neighborhood. We have more than grave concerns regarding Dollar General. I have been researching many articles regarding dollar stores in general. One common thread continued to become apparent and kept popping up in just about every article I read. Dollar stores target poor communities, neighborhoods, and low-income areas. I ask you, is this how you perceive rural Brunswick community? Is this the direction in which Brunswick is headed? Personally, I see a community alive with support and energy towards our local homegrown, whether it be fruits and vegetables at our local farm stand or our local meats, dairies, and co-ops. I see an environment dedicated to teaching a future generation a lifestyle of creating personal health and sustainability. I see a community where families could grow for generations to come. I do not see a corporate company for profit benefiting this neighborhood. Dollar stores absolutely fill a void, but to saturate a community to a degree of urban sprawl is irresponsible. Lawmakers in towns and cities across the country are putting the brakes on dollar stores in their communities. In particular, Dollar General in particular forces their corporate greed into rural communities, most oftentimes with great opposition. And here we stand with exact circumstances. The business model of these dollar box stores is built on saturation. Dollar General often chooses to locate on the edge of a rural town away from traditional downtown retail areas, hence the corner of Carroll's Grove Road and New York State Route 7. A recent article I came across was posted on March 28, 2023 by Michael Koki of the New York Times. The heading reads, Dollar General is deemed a severe violator by Labor Department, aka OSHA. Another article, although posted in June 29, 2020 by Alec McGillis of ProPublica, a nonprofit newsroom that investigates abuses of power, the headline reads, How Dollar Stores Became Magnets for Crime and Killing. This article was heartbreaking and disturbing in many ways, as you might imagine. Cal Turner Sr. of Dollar General once stated, we don't have to have great locations. With our merchandise and our prices, we just need some kind of building around us. On a side note of interest, a 2021 compensation for top Dollar General management, CEO Todd Basso, $16.6 million. COO Jeffrey Cohen, nearly $5 million. CFO John Garrett, nearly $3.9 million. Rhonda M. Taylor, $3.5 million. And CIO Carmen R. Wenkoff, $3.3 million, a grand total of $32.3 million in personal gain. CEO pay ratio, 935 to 1, with regards to the median employee. These figures do not account for shareholder profits. At the end of the day, corporate greed is corporate greed. In all honesty, if not for the insatiable need to amass vast amounts of wealth, there would not be a market for these box stores at all. When is enough enough? So I ask you, is this the community the town of Brunswick is seeking to purvey? Or is the town seeking to create a place for families to grow and prosper from one generation to the next in a healthy and sustainable environment? I do not foresee nor anticipate any positive outcomes should this retail box store be approved. It will deflate homeowner neighborhood and neighborhood property values, as well as positivity in the community as a whole. Personally, I never felt the urgency to keep my door locked during the day while at home. This would absolutely be a game changer as to the safety of my family and my home. In conclusion, I am respectfully asking of you to vote no on the rezoning of the parcel of land located on the corner of Carroll's Grove Road and New York State Route 7, as well as to vote no to any future consideration regarding Dollar General or any such retail box store in any rural community in the beautiful town of Brunswick. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sheriff. Officer?
Hello, all. My name's Alex Heyer. I reside at 302 Carroll's Grove Road. I can't compare to that. I just wanted to quickly talk. I know the attorney for Dollar General had mentioned there was a business across the street. Those businesses are in no comparison. The Agway is fitting for our lifestyle. It's been there for several years. And the community, basically we love that. We get all our farm goods there and it fits our community better. Second thing is the crime that this will bring. At any given time, drive past Route 7 on Hoosick Road, either the Walmarts, Price Chopper, Dollar General, anyone you drive by, you are bound to see a state police car or a sheriff's car. What are they doing there? They're entertaining larceny complaints, where normally the person doesn't stay on scene. The person takes off when they're confronted by staff. Where do we think the person is going to run that's confronted by staff? They're not going to run down a 55-mile-an-hour Route 7 where the police are coming from. They're going to run up Carroll's Grove. What's that going to bring? A place for them to hide. Where are they going to hide? They're going to be checking our car doors, checking our garages, checking our outbuildings, checking our homes for places to hide. I ask that you please take all this into consideration and please vote no for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Anybody else at this point?
Jennifer Mann, 91 Hill Road. Again, I'm not here to talk about the Carroll's Grove Road issue. I just wanted to say thank you, and Michael, Mr. Bailey, I hope you will tell your crew thank you so much for the work they did in the snowstorm. Since we met here last time, we had an epic snowstorm, and as everybody knows, we're still cleaning up. And I was away on vacation for that, and everybody said I was lucky, but it actually made me a nervous wreck to be away from my property during that kind of damage. And the person who was taking care of our dog said he almost couldn't get into our road. We live on a pretty rural road. But the crew, he went and talked to one of the plow guys down at the bottom of our road who had been out since 4 a.m, and it was 10 at night. So I'm just really grateful, and I just hope you'll convey that to them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With that storm, the guys are out picking up brush. We are getting hammered. A lot of brush came down in this town.
Hi, I'm Helena Fox, and I live on Inverness Drive, which is Army Hall, so it's a dead end, so Army Hall goes over and then it comes out. And there's Crescent Avenue and then there's Army Hall. And it's a, dead end, curve that people can't see. And there is a sign for a curve, but it's way up by Crescent Avenue. And I'm just wondering if there could be a sign moved down closer to our road saying, blind road coming in, because with the traffic increase, it's kind of scary that you try to get out of the road and then people are coming up. And when our daughter was learning to drive, it was very good.
I believe you're talking about Route 7. the sign.
Yeah, Route 7 and.
Is
then
that where
there's-
you'd like the sign, on Route 7?
Yeah, there's Route 7 and then there's Crescent and then the sign is right after Crescent. But
Is it on the town side or on Route 7? On Route 7.
it's on, you're going down Route 7, it's on the right-hand side.
I'm saying it's probably a state sign.
I don't
If
know,
it's
but,
on
you know,
Route
I figured a new sign would be a pretty cheap message to put in because, we very often come out of our,
Yeah.
it's a blind curve and we come out and
What we can do is notify the state and mention something.
that would be
They
great.
don't get very happy when we start putting signs on their roads.
But, if there could be something done to indicate that there is a curve, a blind curve there that people would be coming out of.
Mike, I'm sorry, highway guy here, maybe contact his garage up here, the state garage, and talk to them.
Yeah, there's like 8 houses in our neighborhood, but it's sometimes kind of scary. We turn out and then all of a sudden somebody's right behind you.
Okay.
So I would appreciate anything you could do to improve that corner.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, anybody else at this point? Yep.
sir.
Do me a favor, tip that thing up a little bit, it drives me crazy pointing down. We don't have anybody that short.
Charles Wilson, 63 Indian Creek Lane. Is Chuck here tonight?
No,
Okay,
he's always here, and he texted me, said he didn't feel good.
okay,
He wasn't coming, so he's not here.
okay.
I don't remember missing a meeting.
All right, well then, I have a question for you. On March 11th, 2022, I applied for a building permit in the building department. And since that time, written letters with Chuck, and he has not made a determination on that building permit. We haven't gotten a response on that. I asked the zoning board of appeals to review it, and they have declined to hear the appeal. And so I would like to find out when I can get an answer, a determination, an approval or denial on the building permit that I applied for 13 months ago.
Mr. Chaffee, you didn't bring,
Well, the appeal's still pending, isn't it? Isn't there a decision coming up?
The zoning board of appeals said they did not have jurisdiction.
But there is another proceeding from the board, isn't it, next week?
That I'm not aware of.
I'm Richard Webster, I represent Mr. Wilson.
yeah, grab that microphone.
I'm Richard Webster, I'm representing Mr. Wilson. I think the written decision is coming out, but nonetheless, the decision has already been rendered. So I don't think this is, it's very clear that the zoning board has declined jurisdiction.
Okay, well, I haven't been involved in that because there's another attorney involved in that because I had to recuse myself. And so I'm not 100% up to snuff on what's happening with it. I think we're gonna have to look into it.
In the minutes that came out from the last zoning board meeting, it says the zoning board has refused to hear an appeal on that lack of determination. So it appears as though they've denied to hear it.
That's correct. I mean, can I just clarify this? The zoning board found there was no determination. And therefore, because their jurisdiction is only with regard to appeal and determinations, they declined jurisdiction. So the zoning board and Mr. Paulson fully agree there is no determination. the question is not whether there's jurisdiction somewhere, the question is, when will the determination be made?
I'll have to meet with Mr. Golden and find out where he stands with it. I honestly wasn't expecting this, and like I say, I haven't been involved in the appeal process because I had to recuse myself.
We have another attorney handle that for the zoning board.
When would you be able to get back to me?
I don't know, but let me see what I can find out.
Can I be clear, this isn't really a legal question. This is there's a town employee whose job it is to make determinations on building. Mr. Bolton is asking for examination. He's not asking for any sort of legal interpretation, it's purely a decision which is in the discretion of the town employee.
Yep, we understand, so.
He's not here, so we'll speak to him.
Okay, could you notify Mr. Bolton when that determination might be made?
Sure, I don't feel comfortable because Mr. Bolton's represented by counsel, he's got two attorneys, so, I shouldn't really be responding to you directly.
Yeah,
Three now?
Yeah, three.
well, yeah, Mr. Bolton's normal attorney is on vacation, so I'm his standard attorney.
Okay.
So he doesn't really have two attorneys. But I'm only here to say that there aren't legal, I'm not here to say there are legal issues, I'm here to say there are not legal issues. This is just a simple case of asking when this determination can be made.
Okay. We can ask Mr. Golden,
Find out what the status is.
find out the status is. All right,
And what would be the appropriate way to find out what comes in your discussion with Mr. Gold?
With Mr. Who?
Gold.
Golden,
After you talk with him, how do I find out what the outcome of that is?
I guess it depends on what transpires. I'm not exactly sure where everything stands at this point.
I'll get a hold of him tomorrow when we come to work and tell him that you're waiting on this and ask him what the status is. That's all I can do.
Should I talk to Chuck then after that, or talk to you guys? What's the appropriate
Well,
thing
I
for me
think
to
your
do?
attorney just said it's not a legal issue, so I don't know why he would talk to me.
Right.
Talk to Chuck. I would think.
Okay. You won't have no objection to Mr. Wilson talking to the building inspector. Great. Good. Okay.
Call him when? What would be an appropriate time frame to speak?
I don't know if he's gonna come tomorrow to work. He just called me, said he didn't feel good, so I can't tell you. Call him tomorrow.
A couple days?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, then.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else at this point? All right, let's roll right into business here, so. Reports by elected officials and department heads. Town clerk, Mr. Lewis.
Okay, for the month of March, $4,957.69 will be remitted. Rounded amounts, we have $3,009 in recycling sales, both the center and the office. $750 in rental fees, there were 5 new community center reservations. 442 dog licenses, 13 new ones and 49 renewals. And $756 in miscellaneous fees. $350 of that for vital statistics, $350 peddler's permit, and $54 out of $911 in sales for DEC. It's all fishing licenses about at this point. The beach passes were ordered. They were new ones for this year for a 2-year period. So we redesigned them and reordered them. Hopefully they'll be in by the end of this month. People have been chomping at the bit. A little early. We don't open until the end of June, but they will be here. Camp registrations, I think we already have 15, at least maybe a few more squeezed in this afternoon. So the camp registrations are going along too. And that's about it.
All right, any questions? If not, entertain a motion to approve Mr. Lewis's report. I'll make it. Second. All in favor? Highway, Mr. Bert Bailey. Come on up. I'm glad I tipped that microphone off for you, buddy. A little bit more.
Oh, April report. I got 8 days of 6 men cut and brush, 4 men for 2 days patching, down, and we started our annual spring cleanup. We got 7 men for the last 5 days picking up. This man with us, 15 truckloads a day. It's become a little more than yard waste, it's become a maintenance issue.
Brush last year, what we do, we gather, take it off the old landfill, and then we put it out for bid to grind. $50,000 to grind it, and DEC and whoever grinds it, take it away, so. I don't know what this bill is gonna be, so. We should just throw it over the tree, thank you. Or I can't say that when you turn it yourself.
My foreman's had 7 guys out doing it for a week. He's doing a wonderful job, going like crazy through it, pushing it through pretty hard. Besides that, we got 4 man days, 4 men for 3 days working in the shop. Couple men for 3 days running around fixing mailboxes that got hit during the snowstorm. Hit would be a long word, but snow was so heavy in that last storm, it just formed up. What we could fix, we tried to fix. We have one day today, we were assisting the water department fixing the water main break. After our snowstorm a month ago, we really started cleaning trucks. It took a couple days, took a couple men to wash all the trucks off, clean them all out, get ready to settle down. And then shortly after that, Kevin started having men taking wing plows off and taking the light stuff off the trucks, getting ready for spring work. He's evolved in the spring, working out real well. So we painted the plows for one man, had 4 days doing that plowing, taking apart plows, with another 2 men for 2 days taking off the racks out of the back of the trucks and taking the wings off. Then going back to all the yards that we tore up, catch them with the wing plow. I'm guilty of that myself.
Not you.
We heard.
More than I want to admit. Anyway,
Bailey drives the truck too, with the wing on it.
we had 4 men for the last 13 days. A lot of the time just rakes and shovels, but also when the foreman takes out the great ball and cleans up the big messes. Really working out well. They're doing a nice job. Got a lot of compliments from people for that. We had one gentleman that has to run down the sidewalks, take 2 days to run down the sidewalks, clean all the snow off them with a snow blower. And now we're in sports season, so we put a list in to help all the sports clubs out, building a few benches, tables, for them, cleaning up the parking lots. Going around doing that. The big issue for the last couple of weeks has been Kevin's had 3 men with him, and BJ's had Bobcat out sweeping those. They've gone through doing that like crazy.
New truck down there?
I forgot about that. We have a new truck in town.
I didn't forget, we've been waiting 2 years.
Yeah. It's not as new. It's new to me, it's not new to the town. But, that's Mr. Christian, make that truck up, but it's quite a little truck.
Gonna order another truck tonight, a tandem. They tell us it's gonna be 2 years before we see it. About $330,000. Gordy, I think they used to be like 220, 200. Absolutely crazy, so.
And you won't see it for 2 years.
I'd like to compliment my crew on the snowstorm on through. Kevin's been working with his crew, knowing that we're gonna be busy, and he's been pushing everybody and doing a hell of a job. I think you have quite a crew that you gave me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Entertain a motion for Michael's report.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mike, I want to thank you. One other thing he did, he took 2 or 3 guys and went down and cleaned up that bus stop area across from the Price Chopper entrance. Some people think that's a state road, that we shouldn't be picking up papers on a state road, but we consider that part of Brunswick. When you're driving up and down the road, it's a gateway to Brunswick, and Mr. Bailey shares our concerns and our thoughts, so did a real nice job, so. I went down and picked up a half dozen papers yesterday. You did most of them. I wasn't just trying to get seen. We bought a garbage can and put it out there, and thought that would work, but it's not working. All right, where else? Who else we got? Mr. Golden's not here. Mr. Bradley? Mr. Bradley. Water Department.
Good evening.
Oh, well,
Sewer report for March 2023. It's like we go from that severe snowstorm to we're roasting and getting sunburned today on this water main breaker repairing, so.
At least it was water.
Yeah, well, yeah. At least it wasn't in the middle of winter, right, when it was
That's right,
sub-zero, so, yeah, so there's a silver lining to everything. Mike and his crew helped us out today on that, which is always great, so. We're nearing the end of the water and sewer collection. Our billing was $599,000. We collected $502,000, which is on par, you know, at 97, 97, yeah. 97 and an aging balance is pretty on par with what we've done in past collections. So people are continuing even in these economic times to pay their water bills. So that's good news for us to keep the cash flow moving. We're kind of doing a lot of effort to get new radio read meters in. We're going to slow down on that a little bit because of other stuff has to be done out there. We got some valves to cut in, some meters to install, and large meters to install. We're also doing a lot of GIS work with Anthony and Blake doing that, and particularly we're starting to locate services. And that's part of this lead service inventory that we have to prepare for the, it comes down from the EPA, administered by the New York State Department of Health. We have to make a concerted good faith effort to document every water service, both on the town side and on the homeowner side. Now, there's, depending on age of the system and locations and documentation that we have, there will be a statistical level of physical identifications. The state couldn't really say solidly what the acceptable physical statistic would be as far as what percentage we have to determine on our side, because that will require digging or potholing with a hydro excavator to determine what's going on. But we're starting with the high probability areas because we find lead services on our side. We have to replace them, and we have to work with the homeowner to replace theirs. This is going to be somewhat of a kind of a monumental effort because I've been working to pull in just the database information from the tax base and our billing program and all that, and trying to meld things together on the GIS because it has to be well documented. Or they just won't accept it. It's not, and doing nothing is not acceptable. It's, we're at a conference the other day from the health director of the Division Bureau of Water, and they're very adamant that, well, some of the stuff is unreasonable, but guess what? It's EPA, we administer, we must do it. So a lot of that is going to be gone. We've met with the Post and Kill consulting engineer about the expansion of the Post and Kill Water District, and part of that is to address some of the PFOA's issues that they have over there, and how that will impact our system, and working on some, eventually some modifications of our contract, because our contract right now limits the amount of water that they can take from us. And with the expansion, they need to take a little bit more water from us. So, and we can handle that. It's just, we got to work it out contractually. And we got some upgrades that we have to do to try to make sure that this is amenable to both parties over the long term. But it certainly is something to help the people in Post and Kill, as far as their concerns with their schools and stuff like that, where they've had issues. And that brings back to more regulatory stuff. I got a whole list of documentation from the Department of Health that just, the documents just expand, every year, more that you have to do. And worked with the county on we had that issue with the White Church culvert that DEC brought to our attention. the county tax sale, they sold a parcel west of that culvert, which really is critical for us to, if we're gonna make modifications. So the county was able to convince the property owner who bid on that to relinquish it. So we'll have to work with our attorney to pick up that small parcel, so that in the future, that'll be part of whatever plan that we work with TDC on that culvert. And I will be attending the public safety meeting next Monday with Mark Bounceberry, just to try to reemphasize the issues about lost water and, need the cooperation of the fire departments to, keep us informed in a timely manner of what hydrants and that they're using so that we can check them, because we have found hydrants that have been used by the fire department that have been left running. So, as the cost of water goes up, we can't afford to lose money in that way. That's it.
We got Alex's attention again.
Ah,
Entertain a motion to accept Mr. Bradley's.
I'll make.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Real quickly, years ago, when Polkenkill was looking for water, Peg Schmidt, many of you know the Schmidt family, she was the town supervisor in Polkenkill. And for some unknown reason, Polkenkill and North Greenbush weren't getting along. Why, I don't have a clue. And they could have tapped into the North Greenbush pipe and got the water at Polkenkill. It wasn't too far away, but politics, some crazy thing happened. So I talked to Mrs. Schmidt, and I said, being two farmers, we're going to be able to get along and get this figured out. So what happened was Polkenkill worked with the town of Brunswick, and they got a beautiful grant. And they hooked in the Spring Avenue on the town of Brunswick line. They ran $1 million pipe to Polkenkill. And what happened is we collect X number of cents to run per gallon the water from Troy through our line and through that new pipe. The best part is, I thought, when we got done, I said to Peg, you got $1 million pipe that they paid for, but it's in the town of Brunswick. And I hate to have Polkenkill Water Department overworking. And she said, oh, make it easy, we'll just give it to you. So they turned it over to the town of Brunswick. So we got $1 million pipe. And now what's happening is, if some of you read, Polkenkill has a concern about their water, and it looks like they're getting another chunk of money. And they want more money, or more water. So that means more water going through per gallon. So I feel pretty good about that. So there's money in the water business, they tell me. So anything to help them keeping taxes down. So. All right, Mr. Chaffee.
This past month, I attended and participated in meetings with staff and outside counsel on various matters at town office or by council call, or conference call, or remote meeting on March 15, March 16, March 17, March 21, March 22, March 23, March 27, April 3, April 5th, and April 11th, 2023. Been working with outside counsel on a pending litigation matter, participated in a complimentary civil presentation on the use of technology in preparing legal briefs, and that was on March 15, 2023. Prepared the resolutions which are on the agenda for this meeting, and working with various departments and responding to comprehensive freedom of information law requests. Been working with the town clerk's office and supervisor's office regarding the municipal shelter agreement. Worked with the town's length of service aware program administrator regarding some issues which arose involving the approval of the service points totals for some of the firefighters and two of our fire companies. As always, I perform legal research, provide legal opinions, and review prepare legal documents as requested by various town officials and employees.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve our account attorney's report.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Tracy, town historian. Tracy Broderick. Hello, young lady.
Well, hello, Mr. Harrington. Good evening, gentlemen. So this past month, I have been looking into the Dunshire Langmore Farms, which was located in Route 2 in Cropsyville. There are a few barns left along with the house, which was part of the original homestead. The house was built in 1876 by John Eddy, and the house is now apartments. The map that I found of Brunswick in 1872 showed Mr. Eddy owning both sides of Route 2, which would be where Langmore Lane is and Hewitt's Farm. When the Eddy family decided to move to Connecticut, they sold the farm to their neighbors and friends, the Clum family. John's son Frank stayed behind and married one of the Clum daughters. They merged the farms together, and it then became known as the Clum Eddy Farm. In the early 1930s, Horace Dunham bought the farm. He was originally from Grafton, but he lived and worked in New York City. Dunshire Farm was the name that Horace had chosen for the farm. He raised dairy cows, and he had a milk room. In 1945, Charles Moore purchased the farm from Horace Dunham, and after that, it became known as Langmore Farms. Mr. Moore also raised dairy cows, and they had their own pasteurizing plant and converted the milk house into a dairy barn. In '59, Mr. Moore retired, and a gentleman by the name of Clinton Crandall of Waterford purchased the 300-acre farm from Mr. Moore. This is where it gets a little interesting. I just found this out recently. He had big plans. He wanted to put a shopping center with a parking lot to put 1,000 cars in the field where Hewitt's would be. It was, the shopping center would include a supermarket, a 5 and 10 cent store, a drugstore, liquor store, laundromat, and bowling alleys. So needless to say, that didn't happen. But over the years, they did put a housing development in, which was part of his plans, but that wasn't until 1966. One of the original barns that stands today has been a place for many different businesses over the years. In the 1960s, it was an ice cream store from the Langmore Farms. In '62, it was a home and garden center, which was located next to the dairy bar. In '63, it was a dairy bar and restaurant. '72 was Pepe's Restaurant. And I do believe sometime in the 1980s was the Uncle Bud's Bar. Not sure if it was bar and restaurant. I haven't been able to find too much information about that. And then it was also known as the Horse and Buggy Restaurant. So that little red barn that everybody sees has been many different things over the years, including the Brunswick Children's Academy that was in existence for a few years. So I do have a question though, because there was a small barn in front evidently that was the dairy, like the ice cream stand. That was, I don't have any recollection of that. I didn't know if any of you might remember when that was here.
We're a little young for that.
Were you really? The 60s?
Chocolate ice cream was great.
Yes, there you go. So I didn't know if it burnt down or, because that's where the parking lot was. That's not there anymore. But the old barn that you see, that was where all these businesses took part. So just thought I'd throw it out there.
I give you my mom's phone number. She worked there, I think.
Oh,
Did
wow.
she? Okay, that'd be great. Very nice. Okay. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Tracy, thank you. Entertain a motion for the historian's report.
I'll make it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tom, recycling coordinator. Mr. how are you, sir?
Very good, thank you. Good evening. The recycling report for March. Blue bags purchased at the center, we had 338 at $3 for 1,014. Blue bags purchased from vendors, 600 for 1,530. Purple bags purchased at the center, 75 at $2 for $150. Our mixed paper, 0.78 tons at no charge. Metal and light iron and tin, 1.51 tons at $140 a gross ton for $188. CEE recycled covered electronics, that is, 1.253 tons at no charge. Miscellaneous large and small appliances, we had 12 TVs, 5 tires, 3 AC units for $370. That gave us revenues of $3,252. The general expenses, refuse landfill, 12.94 tons at $69.75 a ton for $1,031. Our bale corrugated 2.63 tons at $10.36 a ton for $27. Single stream recycled 8.26 tons at $50 a ton for $413. Tires removed 3.424 tons for $2,900, and that gave us expenses of $3,340. The total amount recycled in landfill for the month of March was 30.77 tons.
Excellent. Entertain a motion for Tom's report.
I'll make it. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Brunswick Community Library. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you? I'm here with my trustee, Kevin, tonight, who I think you already know. Thank you, Kevin. For March, the library answered 325 reference questions. We revisited 2,160 times. Our Wi-Fi was used by 180 unique users with an average of 22 people per day using it. Technology was used 112 times. Study spaces 230 times, and we processed 16 passports. Our books and other items were checked out 7,464 times, and our library programs were attended 582 times. It's not technically March, it's really April, but I do want to thank people. We had our hidden egg program for Easter, and we gave out approximately 1,200 eggs for that. And I'd like to thank our library donors who helped us make that possible, because that's a lot more eggs than we could have put in the bill for on our own. We also had 2 community seed programs that went very well, and thank you to all of the people who helped us plant a little bit for our community garden, which hopefully will be alive and well, if I do my job well, by Garden Day on June 3rd. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of your green thumb, we'll see. So Garden Day is June 3rd. We're very excited about that. We hope we'll see some people there. And our next big program that we're very excited about is our adult clothing swap, which will take place on May 22nd and 23rd. These have been wildly successful. We're getting tons of beautiful clothing donations, and also sending home lots of clothes for free to whoever stops by. So again, May 22nd and 23rd is our adult swap. Start cleaning out your closets now, and then come and get some beautiful free clothes. And we're planning our next children's swap for the second week of July, because summer break seems like a really good time to do the kids swap. So if people could start planning for that, that would be wonderful. That's what I thought. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, entertain a motion for Sarah's report.
I'll make it.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I tell you what, before we get to the resolution that everybody's here for, new business, I'm gonna jump around, everybody's nice and awake here. Chairs aren't very comfortable. Mr. Sipperly, you got a map over there. I'm kind of thrilled about this trail system that's happening. You want to explain what's going on?
We do finally have a map over there.
Get that map up,
Bill, if you could
please.
hold that up. Anybody wants to study it, please do. Don't touch it, the ink might still be wet. Just arrived. So there you have it, the trail system that we've been talking about and inviting people to come make use of. But Earth Day coming next weekend, we thought it'd be a great time to officially put the map in the kiosk down there and kick the whole thing off. It's been a tremendous effort by Bill and his staff, community folks, Jesse Hoffman, the Wilsons that live across the street have been stewards of the trails as they previously existed for years and continue to do so, and appreciate them. Mike and his crew helping and continuing to help. It's just been a great joint effort and brought us to where we are today. And I just would encourage all of you to please go down and make good use of it. Take care of it like it's your own, because it is. And
It's a great northern wooded forest and wetlands down there. It's it's a real gem of a piece of property.
Where does it start?
It has two starts. I would encourage you at this point to start at the Keys Lane Community Center. There will be a trail, this trail map will be in a kiosk at the trailhead there. There's another trailhead over behind the Highland Creek area of Bone Steel Lane. Mike is, I think he knows he's agreed to take care of a parking area over there for us, where there will be another kiosk with a trail map. So you can access the trails from either end. You can loop one to the other, back and forth. The trails are all marked with color coordinated trail markers that will match the scale, the map up there on that map. You can't get lost. It'll bring you back to where you started every time.
It also has, if you're familiar using the QR code, I mean, now the pandemic with the restaurants, they learned how to use QR code. So I found out I can make one of these things. So there's QR code, but you can get the map right onto your phone. So if you're out there, you know, you'll have it right on your phone. And we'll get some printed maps and stuff and put them in a holder there. But just encourage it ecologically, you know, not to waste paper and ink and money and stuff like that. Just use your cell phone. Because there's good cell phone coverage throughout the whole area.
So what's the length of the trail?
There's actually several different trails through here. It's up here, so you have the one that's, let's see, where are we going? I named these, okay? So, there's almost a mile, which is 0.95 miles, okay? Then there's the wetland loop, which is this one, the white one down here. So it's 0.72 miles. We have what we're calling the end to end from Keys Lane to Highland Creek. And that's what is it here? That's 0.7, no, yeah, 0.7 miles.
0.7 or 1?
0.7.
1.7?
Yeah, 0.7. And then we have a nice little shortcut across here, which is 0.3. So you can get a nice mile walk out of this, you know, from whichever way you go. You know, you get a mile and a half out of this.
How wide is it?
It varies on the trail. Okay, so the end to end is essentially almost a roadway. Okay, there's a nice when you do this whole loop, it goes all the way down to the hardwood forest, up to a pine forest, and through here. A little bit more rustic. This is just this is just through the natural woodlands through here. It's just a narrow path, and then the wetland loop around here is a nice open field walking through the field. And there's nice, all these wetlands we own. The white around here is the border, a portion of the property that we own. How many acres? It's about 200, right?
What do we end up with, Tracy, do you remember?
200.
200.
So in the future, we're going to extend some additional trails towards the other end of the property, but that takes a little bit more work because they're not, they need to be built up because there's a lot of wet areas on the other side of the property. So we need to cut those trails in a little bit better. That'll be in the future project.
What about motorized vehicles?
No motorized vehicles, no mountain bikes. This is just for pedestrian walking, your pet, and pick up after your pet if you take them out there. We want to keep it as tranquil as possible because unfortunately, all these other vehicles kind of tear up things. And, you know, they're made. A lot of these trails were used previously for ATVs and stuff, but we have to discourage that. No, there's no hunting or trapping.
Is it well posted?
It is.
Yes, all the perimeter is all posted with town boundary markers, and the trails are all marked with trail markers that color code to this. And we've set it up so that if you look in this thing, if the trail marker is on your left-hand side, you're headed towards Highland Creek. If it's on your right-hand side, you're gonna head back towards Keys Lane.
But is it also posted that there's no bicycles?
Yeah, well, everything else except I forgot about bicycles. I didn't anticipate that. That did come up. So in the future, we'll see, hopefully.
It would be nice to have a bike path.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that, determine what we gotta do there. There might be a way to do that in the future. But right now, we're gonna keep it pedestrian.
I want to thank Mark and Bill. They put a lot of time into this. Quickly, years ago, my father-in-law, Bob Pollock, when we built the Price Chopper, we we like to have 35% green space when you build something here to make it look nice. He gave me the argument that, what do you need 35% green space in a parking lot for Price Chopper? And I said, that's a good point. However, this Keys Lane property, maybe you could buy that and donate it to the town. Pollock's has been here forever, as many of you know, and he was very, very receptive. And he bought that property, the Keys Lane property, fire company had it, we turned it over to the town. And then we had an opportunity over the years, the woods behind O'Malley, who had a car dealership, some people know the name. We approached him and we bought the woods. And the last piece of the puzzle was a bone steel farm. And as you know, that was sold. And concern about houses, wrecking everything. The developer, Marini, clustered the homes, kept them off the ridges and everything. And I asked him if he would consider donating everything back that he didn't use to the town, and he did. So now you gotta go down there. It's gorgeous. Go through the woods, come out, and you can look down. There's 60 acres of wetland on the left. I remember cutting hay down there in the old days, and spring down in there, and beaver dam that flooded it. So it's wetland, but geese, ducks, muskrats, beautiful. And there's gonna be trails. It's gorgeous, gorgeous, especially in the fall. So somebody told me a couple of years ago, just walk it because you're not getting any younger. So Kathy, myself, did go for a walk. So okay, back to business. And thank you, Mark and Bill. Resolutions.
Sure. All right.
That's the end of my story, guys. Get back to business.
Okay, resolution number 29 of 2023. Resolution authorizing purchase of truck and associated equipment for Town of Brunswick Highway Department.
Gordy,
I'll
is this for the new one?
Yep, this is a new, tandem axle dump, stainless steel body, plow, wing, automatic transmission. And it's 2 years out before we'll even see it. So, state of the art, one man can operate it. I don't know what else I can say.
No,
335.
335,000.
We can count on that, Gordy, 2 years out, the price will hold.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Actually, when I was talking to them, they, International hadn't even opened up the slots to take bids, just sort of put us in. We're in line to be put in this month, I believe. And that'll get us about two years out, pretty much. Not only when we buy these things, when we buy these trucks, we get a truck and chassis. Once we have this truck and chassis, then it goes over to be put together, to get the dump body put on it, get the salters and standards on it, the wing plows, the big plows, the grates on the top. I mean, actually, to tell you the truth, the equipment that goes on these trucks almost equals the cost of the entire truck. So it's quite a process. So once we get the truck here, we usually have at least 6-7 months anyway before we even have it all assembled. So it's a pretty good, big process to get this stuff done. It never used to take us that long to get them done, but times being what they are now, it's what it is.
What we've done is taken that 330,000 and we put it in an account where we're getting interest on it, 4% or whatever, so if it keeps going up. Hopefully we can drop that, price this down a little bit. So. Mr. Lewis?
Well, need a second on that.
I'll second it.
Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Supervisor Harrington. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 30 of 2023. Resolution accepting.
Excuse me, Bill.
Oh, yep.
Given that this resolution does involve a business that I have an interest in, then it's proper that I recuse myself.
Of that one, of the truck? No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw the agreement part. What was the next one?
We'll get there in a minute.
I'll hang around and listen to
We'll let you know.
Okay, number 30 of 2023. Resolution accepting proposal and authorizing supervisor to execute agreement for professional engineering services, consulting services in connection with study of commercial solar collection systems in the town in accordance with the 12-month moratorium pertaining to such systems heretofore enacted by the town board.
You know, we put a moratorium on solar panels, in a lot of applications, one of which is 100 acres right over here on Chestnut Avenue, the whole hillside around the corner. So this is what the consultant, right, engineer?
Well,
Yep.
yeah, first of all, it's not all solar panels, it's just the large scale collector systems that the moratorium is on. And part of what's contemplated in the moratorium is having us to review various issues. That's the whole purpose of it. And we felt, or the people involved felt, that we needed some professional engineering consultant to assist us, because the solar companies have asked to interact with us on the issues which are raised to be studied in the moratorium. And so we felt as though we needed to have someone there who had the same type of background, so that they could assist us when we get input from the solar companies.
Thank you.
Okay, need it offered?
Hello. Second.
Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Sullivan. Roll call, Councilman Sibley.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Dallas absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 31, 2023. Resolution approving and adopting decision on request for change in zoning submitted on behalf of Primax Properties LLC, parcel number 82.00-2-50.111.
Mr. Chauke?
I think
I'm going to interrupt again because of a business that I have an interest in that has close proximity to the project. I think it would be proper to recuse myself.
We can do that on the vote. Okay. Or be out of here. Okay.
May I ask a question? I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, hold on, we're gonna explain things.
I'll, yeah, let me, one
Yeah.
second.
Are you gonna read that down?
No,
Okay.
not right now. Why don't you just let me,
Please. The attorney used to sit out there, but he's learned me, he's got pretty close to me now. Go ahead.
the way, as you know, last month, the people from Primax Properties, their attorney and their engineering representative, they came before the board and they made a presentation. And they presented us with a letter request to rezone that parcel at the, the southeast corner of New York State Route 7 and Carroll's Grove Road. And at that time, the town board indicated that, that it would review the submittal received and review the situation, and that the town board would issue a decision as to whether or not, in its legislative discretion, it would entertain the application for a full review. Again, needs to be understood that a request to rezone property is a request for legislative act on the part of the town, and we believe the town has legislative discretion in those matters to move forward or not move forward as it deems fit. So the way we structured this, we have a draft decision prepared, which at some point we're going to read, and then the resolution that Mr. Lewis just alluded to would be a resolution which would approve or adopt that decision. But before we do that, I wanted to note that the attorney for Primax Properties is here tonight. I think two attorneys are here tonight. And they asked for an opportunity before the board acts to address the board one more time. As you know, they also submitted a letter which touched on some of these issues And I distributed that to all of the town board members. So that's been done and they have that. At this point, I think what would be appropriate would be to let the attorneys say what they want to say, and then we can move forward.
Thank you very much. William Demarest from Couch White, here representing Primax Properties. I also have Alita Gaida with Couch White here, and Josh Lanning from representing Primax Properties. I appreciate the board giving us the opportunity to discuss this with you a little bit more and respond to some of the comments that have been received. We do feel that this application, this project is in keeping with the comprehensive plan for the town. This is a retail project, and the comprehensive plan speaks extensively about the need to keep retail in the town. That most of the retail dollars that the town spends are going outside of the town, and this is an opportunity to help keep some of those retail dollars in the town. It is similar in size and use to some of the other properties that are in the area. The issue we're facing is the square footage of the building, the bulk use, that limits us at this particular location. That some of the other uses in the area predate some of those bulk uses, but are of similar size, or have approvals, PDDs, that allow for larger footprints on similar acreage size for the property. So we do believe that this is well in keeping. We're not asking the board to decide on the application tonight, but to follow the code provisions that talk about in an aid in analyzing the implications of the proposed amendments and to coordinate the effect of such actions on intergovernmental concerns. The town board shall refer the proposed amendments to the town planning board and the Rensselaer County Economic Development and Planning Department. And that's really what we're asking the board to do, is to refer it for further consideration. The planning boards are well-versed in reviewing the zoning implications, some of which were raised this evening, things like traffic, light pollution, community character. The planning boards are well-versed in reviewing those issues, and then they would be able to provide a recommendation that would help inform the board's ultimate decision on the application. So that's really what we're asking the board to do. There were a number of concerns raised this evening that are not really zoning concerns and are a lot of concern, objection, and speculation about what might happen if the project comes in that's not directly related to the land uses. We're not really prepared to respond to all of those this evening, but we would urge the board to keep the focus on the zoning issues and not some of the other ancillary non-zoning items. As I said, Mr. Lanning is here, so if the board has any questions about the proposed project, the likely impacts, the likely use levels, he would be more than happy to respond to any of those comments.
We're all good, huh?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chaffee?
So at this point, if it's the board's will that I do so, I can read the draft decision, which is going to be before the board tonight.
I'd like to have you do that. This
Adjust the microphone just a little bit. Oh,
yeah,
sure.
that's it.
That better?
And move it a little closer, yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Ready?
Is your voice okay?
This is kind of a long decision, so, but it's very, very, well.
So the title of the decision is in the matter of the application of Primax Properties LLC for a rezoning of Town of Brunswick parcel ID number 82-00-2-50-111, located at the southeast corner of the intersection of New York State Route 7 and Carroll's Grove Road. The prospective applicant, Primax Properties LLC, as proposed by letter from its engineering consultant, Oler Engineering and Landscape Architects LLC, dated March 2, 2023, that this town board amend the zoning district classification of a 2.7 plus minus parcel of land. Again, Town of Brunswick parcel ID number 82.00-2-50.111, located at the southeast corner of the intersection of New York State Route 7 and Carroll's Grove Road, from BLO, Business Light Overlay, to B15, Business District, for the purpose of permitting an 11,000 plus or minus square foot retail establishment to be constructed and operated on the site. It is customary for this town board in the case of requests for rezoning, given the purely legislative nature of such relief, for the board to make a preliminary determination as to whether in its absolute legislative discretion it will entertain the filing of a formal application for full consideration by the board. It is thought that it would be a waste of resources for a party wishing to rezone his property to pay an application fee, pay for the town's cost of legal and engineering review, and go through the entire application review process, including secret review, if the town board was not inclined to grant the requested legislative relief under any circumstances as an exercise of its legislative discretion. We believe this is a just and valid approach. And a couple of cases are quoted: Matter of Structural Technology, Inc. versus Foley, 56 Appellate Division, 3rd, 677, 2nd Department, 2008. Matter of Cornell Commons LLC versus Town of Cornwell, 163 Appellate Division, 3rd, 810, 2nd Department, 2018. Wolf v. Town/Village of Harrison, 30 Appellate Division, 3rd, 432, 2nd Department, 2006. And Matter of Litz v. Town Board of Guilderland, 197 AD 2nd, 825, 3rd Department, 1993. As stated, the parcel in question is located in the A40 Agricultural District, which would normally not accommodate most commercial uses. However, with the adoption of the town's current zoning law in 7/2018, the Business Light Overlay District, also known as BLO, was established, and the parcel in question is within that overlay. Under 160-15.I of the zoning law, the purpose and intent of the BLO district is to, and I quote, to support low-density, single-family residential development while providing opportunity for low-density and/or low-intensity commercial development, to expand economic development opportunities for the town in accordance with the town's comprehensive plan. The overlay district allows for uses that can coexist comfortably through site design with established agricultural operations and single-family residences, close quote. As the prospective applicant recognizes, under our zoning law, a retail establishment of the size proposed would be classified as a retail establishment large, as defined therein, because it exceeds 5,000 square foot in area. And moreover, under the schedule of use regulations set forth in the zoning law, such use is not a permitted use in the BLO district. The prospective applicant therefore proposes that this town board simply change the zoning on this single parcel to the B15 district. Under section 150-15.J of the zoning law, the purpose and intent of the B15 district is to serve as the town's core commercial area with a wide range of small and large scale retail, commercial, and professional services. The prospective applicant is correct that the 2015 comprehensive plan encouraged commercial development in this area of the New York State Route 7 corridor. It is also correct that the town board, as recently as 2017, decided by the adoption of the current zoning law to fulfill that goal of the comprehensive plan by the establishment of the BLO district. Looking at the schedule of use regulations, we see that commercial uses such as bakeries, banks, civic, social, and fraternal clubs, commercial greenhouses, kennels, and veterinary offices are all uses permitted in the district. Additionally, numerous other uses are permitted by special use permit in that district, to include several types of retail establishments, including retail establishment, convenience, which is a maximum of 5,000 square foot in area, retail establishment, large product, and retail establishment neighborhood max, which it has a limitation of 2,000 square foot in area. In short, the comprehensive plan goal of encouraging commercial activity on this stretch of Route 7 has clearly been met. It is also clear, however, that this town board intentionally did not choose to make the use of retail establishment large, again, over 5,000 square feet in area, a permitted principal use in the BLO district, either as of right or by special use permit. Given the purpose and intent of the BLO district as set forth above, we believe this makes perfect sense, and we see no need or justification for our changing the zone on a single parcel within the BLO. We note that this town board has chosen to make the use of the retail establishment large, again, over 5,000 square feet in area, a permitted principal use only in the B15 district. We believe that legislative determination makes sense given the purpose and intent of the B15 and the BLO districts as described above. Moreover, permitting a zone change as requested on this single parcel might have some unintended effects that cannot be foreseen at this point. Simply changing the zoning classification of this parcel to B15 would mean that the prospective applicant could avail itself of any of the uses allowed in the B15 district, including those permitted by right in B15 and not subject to special permit. A review of the schedule of use regulations makes it clear that the B15 and the BLO district have a lot of permitted uses in common, but many of those common uses are allowable as of right in B15, but only upon special use permit in the BLO. These would include bars, shopping centers, restaurants, service stations, motor vehicle sales, motor vehicle repair shops, just to name a few. So if we were to grant this relief as requested, all of these uses and more would be permitted as of right on this single parcel without any special permit review by the planning board to make sure that the use was compatible with the surrounding properties and uses, including agricultural and residential. Again, looking at the schedule of use regulations, it appears that there are relatively few uses permitted as of right without special permit consideration in the BLO. This makes perfect sense as the overlay was superimposed over many lands having agricultural and residential uses, which might well be incompatible with some of these commercial uses. This makes special permit review by the planning board extremely important within the BLO. For the reasons set forth above and after careful consideration, this town board, in its legislative discretion, declines to accept this zone change request for full consideration and review. While we maintain that zoning is a strictly legislative function and do not believe that this town board has any reason or has any obligation to state its reason for denying a request to rezone a parcel of land or for not accepting a request to rezone a parcel for full review, we offer the above to illustrate that we did give thoughtful consideration to the request. Nothing herein should be deemed as any waiver of our position that the zoning of property and the amendment of zoning law in that regard is a purely legislative function, and that this town board is not required to fully consider and vote upon every rezoning application it receives. Dated April 13, 2020.
Thank you. You want to just read the title of the next one? I'm going to ask Tom.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Bill, just read the title here, resolution approving.
Yeah, resolution approving and adopting decision on request for change in zoning submitted on behalf of Primax Properties LLC, parcel number 82.00-2-50.111.
I like, there was one more, I like, because it's pretty important, to have Mr. Chaffee read this resolution so you know what we're voting on.
Whereas, I'm sorry, well, Mr. Lewis read the title. This is resolution number 31 of 2023. Whereas the town having received the letter request on behalf of Primax Properties LLC, that this town board amend the zoning district classification of the 2.7 plus or minus parcel of land, town of Brunswick parcel ID number 82.00-2-50.111, located at the southeast corner of the intersection of New York State Route 7 and Carroll's Grove Road, from BLO, Business Light Overlay, to B15, Business District, for the purpose of permitting an 11,000 plus or minus square foot retail establishment to be constructed and operated on the site. And whereas said request having been publicly presented to this town board at the March 9, 2023 regular meeting by its legal and engineering representatives, and whereas this town board having indicated that it would consider this request in its legislative discretion and make a decision as to whether it would accept the said request for full application, formal petition, and full consideration thereof, including the payment of an application fee, the appointment of legal and engineering experts at the expense of the applicant to represent the town in the process, the making of all legally required referrals, and full seeker review. And whereas this town board, having duly considered the said letter request in its legislative capacity and discretion, and having caused a written draft decision as above described to be prepared and provided to the town board members, a copy of which is attached to this resolution. And whereas this town board, having duly reviewed and considered the draft decision in its legislative capacity and legislative discretion, now therefore, after due deliberation, be it resolved that this town board, in its legislative capacity and discretion, does hereby approve and adopt the attached decision in all respects, and the proceedings hereon are thereupon concluded. And it is further resolved that the supervisor be it hereby is authorized and directed to return any application or filing fee received by the town in connection with this matter to the party from whom it was received.
Everybody still with us? Yep. All right, Bill.
Okay, need somebody to offer on that?
I'll make an offer.
Second.
Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Sullivan. Roll call, Councilman Sipperly is abstained.
Recused.
Is recused, recused. Councilman Christian?
Yes.
Councilman Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilman Ballester absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
Everybody know what we just did?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Let me just run through the rest of this now, grab you. Where's Mark? I have to find.
Probably out enjoying the weather.
We'll try to get through the rest of this real quick. What do you got, Bill? Got any correspondence over there?
We've got some more resolutions we're just waiting for.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh, you were trying to fill in the space. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. No, I don't, by the way.
All right. Resolution 32.
Yes, now we're up to 32. Resolution 32 of 2023. Resolution approving certified list of volunteer firefighters of the Mountain View Volunteer Fire Company Incorporated Fire Company who have earned at least 50 points during the calendar year 2022 under the Length of Service Award Program sponsored by the Town of Brunswick for the said fire company, thereby qualifying them for a year of service credit and directing that the said certified list be returned to the fire company for posting for a minimum period of 30 days. Okay.
Oliver.
Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian. Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balfour absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 32, 2024, 33, excuse me. Resolution approving the revised certified list of volunteer firefighters of the Brunswick Fire Company Number 1 Incorporated who have earned at least 50 points during the calendar year 2022 under the Length of Service Award Program sponsored in the town of Brunswick for the said fire company, thereby qualifying them for a year of service credit.
Oliver. I'll second.
Program resolution offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian. Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balfour absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Foregoing resolution is adopted. Okay, last. Resolution approving and authorizing the supervisor to execute an animal shelter agreement.
Excuse me, Bill.
Yep.
I'm afraid once again,
Yep.
because of the interest I have in a business that's involved in this agreement, I need to be properly recused. What we're doing here, because of the decisions made by the Humane Society, we've been kind of backed into a corner here. So we're offering to do what I can on an interim basis, but I shouldn't be involved in the discussions or the vote.
Well, custom to me cut us off. To be honest, it won't take any dogs. So we got a problem.
Not because of anything we did either. That's just they
Nothing
decided
we
to
did,
shut
no.
down all the small towns.
To be honest, I think we had 6 dogs that we picked up last year. 4 of them was claimed by the owners.
Yeah.
We thought we had an emergency the other night. The dog warden called and said, I got a dog, I gotta pick up, we don't have any place to take it, we don't have a shelter. What am I gonna do? Some character, I'll use the word, took the dog down in a car wash down here, tied the dog outside while he was vacuuming the car, and went home without the dog. So troopers called, then what happened, they got home realizing that the dogs had came back, so that Clark is gonna help us out and give us use this facility if we need it, so. Oh, on a very limited basis. We're negotiating with another veterinarian clinic. Hopefully we can switch over. So, all right.
Oliver. Second.
Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Sullivan. Roll call vote. See Councilman Sipperly recused. Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balfour absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. That's it for resolutions.
Any correspondence, Bill?
No, sir.
Mike, get me somebody to write good things to you, will you? All right, old business? Any old business? New business? Anybody?
Just the bills.
And then the warrants? Gordy?
Yeah, I make a motion to pay our bills.
Second.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now, further comments? Visitors, you want to come on up and grab the mic? Thanks for your patience tonight, everybody. One thing we figured, those chairs aren't quite as comfortable.
My name is C.W. Wilson. I live at 269 Carroll's Grove Road. And over the protestations of my wife, I would like to ask a few questions. I'm sorry, honey. You asked if we all understood what was happening here. And I'm moving to the next stage here. And that it's my understanding that you have denied their request for a zoning variance. But there are other factors involved. And then my question really is, do they now have the opportunity to say, okay, we'll just build a 5,000 square foot. And will we go through all this again? Or do the mitigating factors that were discussed here be applied to a smaller store, basically?
Well, frankly, the reason they applied for a rezone was because the use that they wanted, which is 11,000 plus or minus square foot, is not an allowed use in the BLO district.
I think we got that.
Okay, well, the smaller one is allowed use, so they don't have to ask for a rezone.
Right, so they could still submit a proposal for a 5,000 square foot store.
They could submit one for any use which is allowed within the BLO zoning district.
And that's my real question, is that use, is what they're proposing within the BLO, within the overlay?
I think what he's getting at is if it were made 5,000 square feet.
The 5,000 square foot one is, yes.
It is.
In the 2,000 square foot one.
So if they decide that they can make it work economically, because they're now at development costs, the development costs for a 5,000 square foot store are not, the relationship is not linear. So they may decide that they can't get a good return on investment on half the size of the store. So, but if they do, then would we go through the same thing again?
No, because the zoning is no longer an issue.
So you could potentially approve this.
It probably wouldn't be the town board, it would probably be the planning board. I think they would probably need site plan, they would probably need a special permit,
Okay,
and they would also need site plan approval.
okay.
But they would not need a zoning change. The only reason.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying, so this now would be left to the planning board.
Right. Right. The town board's given the planning board jurisdiction over those types.
That's all I want to do. But quite frankly, I think they might do that. They might reduce the size of the proposal to 5,000 and be back, well, not in front of you anymore, but still submitting a plan to the planning board. And then how do we know that, is there any visibility on that from our standpoint?
Well, whenever things are, there's a, if you go online, on the town website, there's always an agenda that the planning board publishes, and
It'd be a public hearing.
there would likely be a public hearing.
Yeah, and that would be noticed to everybody. I don't forget the details, 500 feet from
Yeah, 500 feet from the property.
property line.
And then it's, of course, it's published.
In an agricultural community, that's actually a pretty small, radius. I mean, how many people live within?
Actually, they send it to that. Legally, they do within 500.
Questions are outside that, that's my guess, the point I'm trying to make.
What's that, Jim?
They actually err on the side of greater.
I'm sorry, of what?
They generally err on this greater distance than shorter. So,
Okay. All right, that was my only question really there was to see what might happen. And then the second item I have is like I did last time, I would like to do a straw vote. Is there anybody here who is in favor of this project?
Absolutely not.
Raise your hands now.
We're pretty sure we got that.
I'm just doing that for this. You got it already. Thank you very much for your time.
Now, the idea, of course, of 5,000, as was mentioned, was hopefully for some greenhouses, maybe something very small through their veterinarian clinic, to put a Dollar General in that's only 5,000 square feet. I mean, they're asking for 11. That's a pretty small store.
who knows?
Who knows? But
Open businesses on
we made it that small.
I'm just,
Oh, go ahead.
Leda Fox again, I live on Inverness Drive, which is off of Army Hall, and we live after the turning lane ends. And as I mentioned before, there's a blind curve coming here, but with all the businesses coming up, is there a plan to redo the roads? Because it is so, I have teenage daughters in college,
but she was so scared just to get out of the house. So is there a plan to redo the roads? So we have more, people who lived in Brunswick, who moved to Brunswick, or, we've been there for 23 years, my sister's been there for 30 somehow. We moved there because it was a rural area. And it's not anymore. It's becoming more and more populated. And I'm just wondering, how are the roads going to be changed to address, again, we don't have a turning lane, we're on a line drive. People just come rushing around the corner. It's not unusual not to be able to wait 5 minutes to get on my road. And I'm just wondering, does the town have a plan to deal with this?
State road.
It's not our road.
Yeah, but it's your town.
Yeah, well, now, we could be here for another hour.
But No, you let me talk. Businesses that have.
Number one, I let people talk, I like to talk, that's why I was just gonna tell you to go ahead.
My first master's was in political communication. So I worked a lot with the governor's office and, the legislature, so I'm used to working.
I did a whole newsletter, maybe you can read that, it talks about Route 7, it's like 3 pages.
Well,
That kind of explains
for
it.
you. But I want to know what the plan is, because you're saying it's not your road, but it is your town planning. You have this schedule. So how do you plan on working with the state to deal with this? Why isn't there a stoplight at my corner? Why don't we have more room? And I know you're mad at me right now.
I'm not mad, no, I'm just trying to figure out how to answer you.
Well, I want to know, because,
I'm mad at the state, I go to the state like you.
well, why didn't you deal with the state beforehand? Why didn't you address this
I go to the.
when you were planning on putting all these
Please.
businesses in?
I go to the state, we've gone to the state every year for the last 20 years, and they said, no, we're not gonna widen that road, no. And I said, you got to, because they're not listening to me either. I should have said like you, listen to me.
Then why did you allow all these new businesses to come in? If the state will allow you to, change the road.
Okay, I want to make sure I get your point. I don't want to keep going back.
No.
Because you're gonna get mad at me more.
No, I was locked out of the, Stefanik, and they said, oh, if you don't like it, call the media. So I called my friend Alan Sharcock at WAMC, and I don't want to.
Alan's your friend?
Yeah, he was my old faculty advisor.
He's an interesting gentleman.
Yeah, but, this is, he asked me questions like, why isn't your town dealing with the situation before you allow, if the state says, no, this is impossible, then why is your town allowing all this expanse?
So what did we just do? You weren't in favor of that Dollar General, right? No.
No, that's a tough task.
Yeah, that's a long way from your home, so.
Well, not a long way, but, I agree with that. That you
Okay,
do it.
so
But
you
there's
think
so many other.
I want to make sure I get your
things
point. You want to make sure the town is continuing to look at what's being allowed.
I'm just finding that, Hoosick Street
Okay.
is just becoming horrible to drive on.
Yeah.
And, I have a college-age daughter who's scared to drive on it. And all this development, which is part of the town of Brunswick, is being done, even though the state of New York says, no, we can't change your roads. So what is the balance there? So that's what I want to know. Why can't you agree? Why can't, New York said we can improve the roads, or town of Brunswick says, oh, we need more tax dollars, so we're going to allow all these businesses in. So there has to be something, because people moved to Brunswick because they wanted a rural setting. And in the last couple of years, it's just gone crazy.
Mhm.
So I want to know why you and the state can't work together. And why you're allowing things to build so much when the state still says, no, you can't improve your roads.
Monday to get into this?
I want somebody to get into it.
Okay, now
We
please.
didn't answer tonight, but
We did a please, you let me talk now?
maybe,
Maybe. I'm gonna adjourn this meeting pretty soon here,
that's fine.
but I'd like to answer your question before I adjourn.
But, what I'm saying is, on behalf of everybody here tonight, is why are you listening to the people who live here? Why aren't you listening to the people who want to,
What we did was a comprehensive plan. We hired consultants, we spent a ton of money. We had many public hearings a few years ago. People in Brunswick, all 14,000 people, told us we need a commercial area. That's what read the comprehensive plan. So where would the commercial area go? Unfortunately, for some people, where the water and sewer is located. They said, we understand you need a commercial area. When you talk about taxes, you're correct. I got people calling me every day, Mike will tell you. They want the roads paved, they want this, everything, and the trucks and everything. I gotta, and the minute I say, let's raise taxes, whoa. So, what the people said, we gotta have a commercial area. So what we've done is, town board said, that's our commercial strip. And what's happened is, I know, it doesn't mean anything to you, probably. The last 5 years, our sales tax now, just sales tax, our part of the sales tax, has gone up $700,000. Now, we're up to $2 million for sales tax. Forget the added assessment, forget that. Sales tax. Our budget is only like 9 million. So now we got 2 million worth of sales tax, which is outstanding. Now, when you ride up that road, go over Carroll's Grove, take a ride, you can still see corn, you can see soybean, you can see the horses. Go over farm to market, you still got rolling hills. I know they want to put solar panels on every hill, I understand that. Route 2, I'm sorry, had many people come to us and say, we want apartments on Route 2. We said no, we turned it down. I understand it's a concern down here, I understand. Now, they propose a connector road from Walmart through the field, Walmart did, to hook into Route 2. People down there said, come down and see our homes, they're beautiful, we don't want commercial. So we try to keep commercial, but you're right. We think, I don't want to raise your taxes 10, 20, 30%. 23 out of 29 years, you have not raised taxes. Or we have not raised taxes, you have not paid anymore. Now, maybe you're gonna say, I don't mind spending another couple $1,000, cut that darn commercial down. I mean, I understand your concern. But me and the board, we gotta have a commercial. So we've got a $100,000 grant. The state's looking at that with us. We're talking to them. I don't know. Hopefully they're talking about smart lights. They're talking about this. I'm sorry. I gotta have money coming in because I can't put it on the back of all you taxpayers. I just can't do that.
Well,
We've got a lot of young people moving to town that's just getting families started. And we got a lot of older people, including, I'm an older person, that just can't afford taxes. Maybe you can. And Alan Sharp talking, taxes and money to him doesn't mean anything. I understand that.
You
But I gotta have a sales
understand
tax.
that there are gonna be people leaving Brunswick too. But, it was like everything happened when COVID was happening, so the focus was away on something else. And there should have been things,
I wish, honest to God, I'm being sincere now, I wish I could go back to when I was a teenager. I was born down there in McChesney.
I don't care where you were born.
No, I don't care. I know you don't care. But what I'm saying is, I would like to go back to those days. I wish there wasn't any cars. I can't get out. My road on Tamarack is crazy. So things are changing.
I know, and you're the main.
And I'm the reason for it.
No, you're not the reason for it, but you're the main impetus for it. But you have to think, and you have to ask people, what they want, and Hoosick Street is just a mess.
That's what we're doing tonight, is ask people what they want.
Well, it's a
It
little
came out pretty
late.
clear.
It's a little late to ask people about Hoosick Street. Good night.
A little late, we did a comprehensive plan. The problem is, people just don't agree with you, I guess. I used to have more patience, I'm getting older.
Nancy Trzynski,
Hi, Nan.
234 Carroll's Grove
I'm
Road.
sorry,
I have
Nancy?
a question on the Carroll's Grove Route 7
Yeah,
parcel. On the Carroll's Grove Road side, is there that goes with that parcel, is there an entry and exit allowed on Carroll's Grove? Or whoever utilizes that property, do they have to go in and out on Route 7?
I believe that would be a zoning or the planning board.
So it's not built into the property?
They present something, then the planning board would recommend yes or no, you know. Site plan.
I wish my building guy was here, because he would
It
know.
would be a site plan issue.
Is there any way that we can make sure that there will not be an entry or an exit on Carroll's Grove Road?
Curb cut would have to be up.
Unless we go up against the
Yeah.
planning board when they
would do that, make that.
Knowing the state that doesn't listen to me, and I don't talk to them, they don't allow any entrances out there, so they probably almost encourage you to go over. I don't think you get a road up and over the state or not. So. I don't think you're
Well,
gonna
that
stop it.
Entrances have to do with frontage, and if there's frontage.
Yeah.
Anybody else at this point? I feel a little bad, like I hurt your feelings. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. But you don't need to get back up. We're okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Tatchik, 387 Brunswick Road. I just want to prevent this alternative pass from being accepted of the purity of Route 2, Brunswick Road, right? Saying that there was approximately a 400 unit housing project that was approved under PDD and is still approved. Those things don't die. So just to say that we protected Route 2 is not exactly true.
That's off of Pine Woods.
No.
You mean Usalaney's and the Fox
Usalaney's,
Hollow?
like, no, there were entrance going, it was actually.
How many years ago was that?
Not sure. Well, that's when all the PDD, but the PDD still exists.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one up Shippey Lane.
Those things don't expire. That was a board decision, that those things don't expire, so they still have the right. What's that, Gordy?
Wouldn't part of that land up there on Shippey Lane get sold to the solar people?
No, that's separate, that's not part of that, Usalini project.
The Usalini thing went all the way from Pine Woods Avenue all the way down to Brunswick Road.
Yes, go through there. I mean, there were entrances on both sides. So to say that it was protected, it wasn't really protected. They just didn't build the project, okay?
You're saying it was going to remain residential, Jim.
Yeah, what I was saying is.
It was gonna stay residential
Yeah, but I mean-
as opposed to commercial.
Well, Phil made the statement that somebody wanted to build apartments there, and they weren't allowed. That's not factually.
That's not residential.
Apartments aren't residential?
Townhouse.
Split hairs.
Split
Kept
hairs.
commercial activity on.
Oh, okay, well, but I mean, that's not what he said then.
What I meant, Jim, is I have developers every day coming, looking along Route 2 there, and we're saying no, but. I feel like a bad guy here.
No, I have to take this moment. You say that the state doesn't listen to you, so maybe having a well-connected Democrat on the town board would be good for all of us.
I'm not gonna send that.
Leave it alone, Phil.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
And that's
I'm out of here.